Hello, hello, hello. It is Tuesday and it's almost 7 o'clock. So, and time for another fun Technique Tuesday with some great artwork and lots of ideas. And we're going to take it from a basic version to a better version to the best version. I'll do some fun techniques along the way. So that's going to be really, really fun. And as always, tell me where you're watching from, because I love to see where in the world you all are. It is not quite 7 o'clock, so look at me getting all on the nose. So today I'm going to feature the beautiful gallery collection. I'm going to use paper on one product, I'm going to use some die cuts on it, and this is just such a beautiful, sweet collection. It really is. You can see some of the paper. They've just literally put the paper inside a gold frame here. They made a box, again, featured the die cuts in frames. How cute is this? When you've got 6x6 paper, you can absolutely change this out every day of the week if you so desired. You know, you have some cards made. There's a little purse there, the front of a little purse. Oh, I love it. And more cards. So, so pretty. So what comes in the beautiful gallery? Well, there are two different stamp sets, as you can see. There's beautiful motifs, which is this set here, and you can see that it has matching dies, and some of these dies cut through the paper. I was hoping I could see a piece of artwork here that showed it, and it just partially cuts through. There may be another piece in just a minute. And then there's the gallery blooms here with, again, some frames. We love frames, right? And florals which match the images, and then coordinating dies as well. And then here is this paper. You can see you've got a mixture of florals, and then you've got some scenery, and it's going to be this paper here that I'm going to show you today. This one here I absolutely love. I don't even want to cut into it. It's got boats on it, and it just reminds me of my dad. I'm going to show you a few of these up close and personal before we actually get going, because the paper is so pretty. So I've already fished out the patterns that I'm going to use today, but look at this. My dad was a watercolor painter, so this paper, and he loved boats. It just screams my dad, and anybody who knows my dad and knows his art, and many of you do, know that just totally says that Don Perrin right there. And so you've got all sorts of different backgrounds, and then scenery, and then you've got these such pretty florals. As you can see, I'm only whizzing really fast through them, but some lovely pattern. Look at that. I love that damask background. I think it's so pretty. And then obviously you've got all of the patterns on the back. You've got some gradients, and again another pattern. You've got some lovely neutrals, which are great if you're using those background papers. You need some neutrals to offset these images, these painting images it reminds me of. But these are the two I'm going to use today. So as I say, beautiful gallery is the paper, and it's all part of that suite that I just showed you right at the beginning. So all of the items are available separately, but they all come as a bundle, and then it's discounted, and then you get 10%, so it's even better. I'm also going to show you the stamp and cut and emboss embossing folder, which I've used on one of the last cards, but again, it's in this suite, and you have this beautiful pattern, which I'm hoping you can see on the camera. Through the plastic it makes it a little bit harder, I know, but absolutely beautiful pattern. So without further ado, I said I would show you the FaultLine card, and I'm going to show you 2 or 3 versions of the same card, and I want to show you it's so easy to make. So I took this patterned paper and I cut it into 2-inch strips. So this is a 6x6 pattern. So I cut it at 2 inches, and then I cut it again at 2 inches. So now I have 3 cards from one piece of paper, which we all love that. So you can see that is this end of this pattern here. So you're going to tell me, well, Sarah, I'm not making 6-inch cards, I'm making 5.5-inch cards. And as you can see, I cut it down to 5.25 inches. So when I used this end piece, you can see here's the bottom. I cut the top off the sky. I didn't want to cut it off the detail because the pattern is at the lower end of the card. So I hope this makes sense. Okay, so I cut that 3/4 of an inch off the top edge of the card. On the next panel, I did the same thing on the next card I'm going to show you, on that middle panel. Again, I didn't want to cut off the bottom, so I cut that 0.75 piece, that 3/4 of an inch piece off that top edge. And so it brought the focus of my pattern, of my card, to this section here. So does that make sense? Give me some hearts, give me some thumbs up if that makes sense. So for these first two 2-inch strips, I cut 0.75 or 3/4 of an inch off that top edge to bring that pattern up to the, so that it focused on this part of the pattern. Okay, I need to see some love in, I need to see some hearts if it makes sense. Okay, on the last piece, so again, this is my last 2-inch strip that I'm going to use. You can see that when I cut it, this time I've taken that 3/4 of an inch piece off the bottom, okay? Because I don't want to lose any of the sky, because this pattern is already 2/3 away up the card, and I hope that makes sense. Okay, so you can see that I've taken some of the cloud cover paper, which coordinates beautifully with this paper, and we're going to stamp some images on it. Okay, so that was the basic card. Super easy. Okay, for my next card, I took the center section, right? And this time I put some of this damask paper in there. So we've got cards, same color cardstock. Now we've got a second layer of paper in here. And then again, that middle piece. And I hope that makes sense. And this time I popped these up, these two sections up on 3D foam tape. And I know you can see the difference between the two. If I bring these up to the camera, you can really see that dimension. Same words, same stamped images, but just adding in that little bit, that paper in there, I think makes all the difference. Okay, do you like that? I do. I think it's super fun. All right, so let's make this third card, and I'm going to add in another technique for this. All right, so here is my cloud cover cardstock. It's 5 1/4 inches, and I want to show you the easiest way to do this. All right, no, very little measuring, or you're not going to be worried about tearing off too much. I did cut 2 pieces of that patterned damask paper, and I cut it at 0.75 by 5.25. Okay, so 5 1/4, 5.25 by 0.75, 3/4 of an inch, and then I tore a little bit off. And people are always worried about tearing. You don't have to be. Hold the paper close together, and then you're just going to tear a little bit off all the way down. Keep your fingers together. Don't just get it and tear it. You've got no control over it. Okay? Just like that. And I'm going to put one on one side of my card and one on the other. It's all right, I've lost my card base. I know it's here. Okay, so we're going to tear that in a minute. So I'm going to put my piece of paper. You can center it. You can put it off to one side. It's entirely up to you, right? It doesn't matter. And then we're going to put this paper either side of that image, all right? So what I'm also going to do, that's right, I'm just looking for my adhesive as well. So you can add these decorative pieces and then stick it down. It's entirely up to you. I'm going to stick it down to this piece, but I need to do all of the pieces. All right, so I know my paper is going to go approximately there, and I'm not measuring, right? And I know my pattern paper is going to go approximately there, which means that the piece I need here is going to be torn about there. And again, I'm keeping my fingers together and controlling the tear and coming straight down. Okay, because I'm not tearing at an angle. So I know that this piece will go about there. But I want to do a fun technique to this in a minute, all right? So of course, I've already torn off from this edge. If I was using white core cardstock, I would need to cut it or tear a little piece off to get the raw edge back so I can do it this side, all right? But because this is a solid core cardstock, I can just flip my paper over, and I already have my torn edge that side. All right, so I can just line this up about where I want to see it, and I don't actually need much this edge. All right, I'm going to take my ruler, and how much do I need? Let me just put that down. Let me put that down. I need about 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to cut it just over 3/4 of an inch to give myself some wiggle room. All right, so we'll just take my paper out, and I need it to be, so we got 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch. So we'll do about just a whisker over 3/4 of an inch. Okay, just like that. And if I haven't measured it, I haven't wasted any cardstock, right? I know that these are all going to fit like that. Ta-da! Okay, but let's add in another technique. Let's add in some fun with this. Okay, so we have this torn edge all the way down here. Let's just straighten that up. And we have a torn edge all the way along here. I'm not going to alter the torn edges on the paper because we already have that beautiful white edge. But for this, I'm going to bring in some embossing. So I'm going to use my Versamark ink, and I'm going to use the metallic copper embossing powder. It's in a set of 3. It comes with silver and gold and copper. Okay, so that's what I'm using. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to just take the lid off, and I've just got a catching plate for this. I'm going to take my Versamark, and I'm going to just drag that Versamark ink along that torn edge. And I know you can't see it. I know, I'm sorry. But trust me, it's there. So we're just going to drag, and I'm using the corner because I can really see that corner of the Versamark and where that is going. And then I'm going to take my copper, I'm going to sprinkle it on, shake off the bottom, okay? Now, move your powder out of the way before you do the next technique, before you heat it, because you don't want to be blowing powder around. Ask me how I know. Here's the heat tool. It's a heat tool. It will melt this powder, okay? And I'm hoping that if I stand up and that you can hear me, that you will see this change on camera, because this is one of the coolest things to do. Okay, so I'm just going to hold it, and I'm just going to move it gently, slowly up and down. Okay, don't do this. It's not a puppy tail. It doesn't do anything when you do that. Okay, and I'm going to angle the heat source away from my fingers because it's going to get hot. Okay, so I'm keeping it pretty close to the cardstock, as you can see. I'm just going to go along here. Now you can see those V shapes there. That was the corner of the embossing pad, because I told you I was using that corner. And I really don't care that I've got that, because it just makes it look more almost like a geode, right? Okay, that's one done. Hang on, let's do the other one. Now, could I have done the two at the same time? Yes, I can, but this cardstock is super porous, and I don't want the Versamark to dry. I want plenty of powder on this. And if I'd have put the Versamark on the cardstock and then added the powder and then not heated it straight away, sometimes that powder can dry and then it just falls off before you can emboss it. Okay. Now, take the extra off, move it out of the way of the heat source. I speak from experience, you can tell, can't you? And here we go again. It is so cool to watch it turn. It's such a cool technique. And this is a skinny piece of cardstock, so I'm going to hold it. You'll know if you're too close to the heat source, trust me on this one. Okay. I'm going to hold it this end and aim it that way. And I'm trying to see through my camera, so I apologise if it looks like I'm doing it awkwardly. I'm trying to hold it up so you can see. Isn't this cool? so much fun. Although the practicality of added extra heat to my workroom right now when it's about 100 degrees outside, or in here, or it feels like it, it's not one of my better ideas. Okay, we're just going to let that just cool just a second. But can you see how cool that looks? Like I said, it just reminds me of a geode. I'm just going to put this powder back into my little pot. And then I can screw the lid on so I don't knock it everywhere, because you all know Sarah, I am not the steadiest of people when it comes to powders and sequins and stuff. They always end up everywhere. All right, so let's find my 3D stamping dimensionals. We need another sheet because we're almost out of this one. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to run adhesive along the back side of the geode piece. So, oh, hang on, somebody was using my adhesive last night, and there we go. And I want to stick that to that. I'm trying not to get my head in the camera, like so. That's pretty, just adds that little bit of shimmer and shine. And then again, let's come in with this one. Okay. Oop. Trying to brush the powder off. I've got powder on me. I still managed to tip it into onto the mat, even though I was trying not to. All right, I love that. Isn't that fun? So let's put some 3D foam tape on the back of this. Stamping dimensionals. They come in these cute little rectangles. And for speed, I will cut that up and I will use that on another project. But just for speed on this project tonight, we'll do it this way, because I have more artwork to show you. I want to share with you today. And these are going to be a little bit, we're going to put the 3 large ones, and then I'm going to come in with the smaller ones, because the big ones are going to be that whisker too big. There we go. And all we're doing is just supporting it so it doesn't sag. No sag, right? No sag. All right, so let's do this. So we need some adhesive on the back of my paper. All right, and I have a guide, right? So I'm not going to see this side, obviously, but it doesn't matter. But that is going to be my guide for attaching this piece here. Booyah. There we go. Perfect. If I can find an easy way to do something, you know I'm going to. It's like, don't make life more difficult for yourself than it has to be. And then we're really going to kick this up a notch with the, we're going to put a sentiment on here. And we'll add some twine. All right, and we know this is going to go here, so that I don't even have to measure it. We know it fits. We know it fits. Was that a cool way of measuring it and getting it right? I hope so. I hope you like it. All right, so we're going to put that piece there. Now, on my other sample, I actually stamped some embellishments there, and I've already stuck this down, so I'm not even going to attempt to stamp anything on here, but that doesn't matter, because I've actually used one of the leaf dies. Look at that, isn't it pretty? And I'm actually going to have it coming up here. You wouldn't have seen it beneath this leaf anyway, so I'm really not worried about it. And I'm going to use some of the Tombow liquid adhesive to glue this down. And you know what I'm looking for. You all know what I'm looking for, and of course I can't find it just to spite me. I'm looking for my silicone mat, which I did a card class last night, and everything went everywhere. So it is what it is, right? Sometimes, just sometimes, it is what it is. All right, we are going to stamp some words, and I wanted to use cloud cover. Now, you all know that the cloud cover ink in the large ink pad size is not available right now, but it is available as part of a set of 5 colors in the mini ink spots. And you know I love an ink spot, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this to stamp with. Okay, now you can, if you don't want to buy all 5 colours that come in this cloud cover set, this is one of the 5 in the set, you can actually buy a set of blank ink spots, and you can then use any re-inker that you like to fill those ink spots. So if you wanted pecan pie or early espresso or pretty in pink or lemonade, it doesn't matter what colours you want, you just buy the re-inker and then you put it on that little ink spot. So we're going to say thank you for everything. Love, 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 love. Okay, actually, let's do that one more time. I obviously lent on that pretty darn hard, which I shouldn't do. My glass mat isn't completely flat today. There's something underneath it and I'm not sure what. So let's do that one a bit better. That's slightly better. I think I've got something on my stamp. What? Okay, that's all right. We have two more sides, right? Let's just wipe that off, because I may have picked up some of the powder off the table on it. I think that might be what it is. Let's give it one more go. 3rd time's a charm, right? You see, we all have days when you stamp something and you're like, wait, what? Okay, everybody does. Some days are easier than others. I've already stamped this twice. As I say, I might have picked up some powder on it. Beautiful. That's way better. Way better. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, let's dovetail this because we can. We do like a good dovetail. So let's just remember snip it up the middle. And then we are going to just come in either side. Okay, up to that center point. I always like to come a little bit short because I can always add more. And then let's add some twine. Let's add some loops of twine. 1, 2. Let's do that. So we're going to double and double. Okay. And I'm actually going to snip them into like legs, if you like. I don't want it to look like spider legs. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've got 10. That's okay, because I certainly don't want spider legs on this. It's great for Halloween. It's a good technique for Halloween. You cut 4 loops and then now you've got spider legs. Okay, fine. I don't mind that. And then let's also add in a whisker of this, because I do like this ribbon here. I have all my ribbons at the back of my desk, which is just wonderful. So this one is, what colour is this? Petal pink. I like this. So we're going to add in just a couple of loops behind that as well. And the pretty this petal pink, it really coordinates with this copper powder really, really well. And my glue dots are cunningly disguised down here. See, I do actually know. People come into my room and they say, Sarah, how on earth can you find anything? Well, some days are better than others. I won't lie. Some days are definitely better than others. But when it works, it's a beautiful thing. And I don't actually have to put stuff away. It drives my poor mother nuts. She's like, if you put stuff away, you'd be able to find it. Nope, if I put stuff away, I can't find anything. Okay, oh, I like that. Just that little bit of, it almost pulls in the fronds of the flowers. So yeah, I like that a lot. Okay, so we're going to pop that there. So let's put some more 3D foam tape on it. And this is where I'm going to use these bits up because, like I said, you don't want to waste this. There's some good sticking here, in the words of my nephew. What are you doing, Auntie Sarah? Are you sticking and gluing? I certainly am, my friend. I certainly am. And I know we have to stick that flower frond down as well. But because this is already popped up, I need to actually double up my layers of 3D foam tape. Okay, so I'm going to take the other end off first, so I can double up that bit. And we've got some bulk going on here as well. And I would just want to put this bit on here. It is super sticky and it always gets stuck to my nails. All right, so let's stick this down. And you only need some tiny, tiny dots. You don't need a lot. And you know, usually I would have my, what's it called? My silicone mat. And I would just dip this into the glue. But as it's in the bag from yesterday. That's exactly what I didn't want to do, right? Just going to put that there. And it mimics the trees. Okay, I was trying not to get the glue on my mat, but never mind. Thank you for everything. And that, as I say, those little fronds, actually you can pull some of them each side. I like that even better. You can arrange these however you like. Oh, nice, 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 nice. Okay, and then finally, where are my gems? I have gems. I had them out. They are the colour of the year gems, and they're underneath my book. Here, so here is the cloud cover. So let's put a few on here. Let's just, they come in 3 sizes and 5 colours, so you get lots of gems in here to play with. Okay, I like that. Just gonna put 3. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Isn't that pretty? So you've got 3 different versions from one card. So this is your basic, this is your better, and then this is your best with that embossing on it. Do you like it? Isn't it fun adding that shimmer and shine? And I told you that I made another one, and I used that damask embossing folder, which I did. And yeah, hang on. Let me just move all of the bits out the way. It's this side. I cut it with my paper trimmer. This time, the paper I used was from the Timeless plaid or plaid paper, which is 164678, and this is it's got all sorts of different patterns, as you can see. I've used this in projects before. You've seen me use it multiple times, and I used this particular piece, which is this pretty Cajun craze, like this orangey color. Now this copper embossing would go really well with it, but to give you a totally different look, how about that? So I had this cut out, and this is the mixed media florals, and I colored it with the petal pink marker, and then the pink and the purple. You saw me use this on another project, I'm sure. So I brought in some paper that I'd inked for another project. It was just a piece that was left over, and then here is that damask embossing folder. If I tilt it to the light, I hope that you can see that texture within this soft seafoam green cardstock. Isn't that pretty? So exactly the same technique, but this time I did it as a horizontal tear, not a vertical. But I hope that showed you just how easy it is to do this FaultLine card, because it really is an easy little card, and there's that beautiful die. So I will see you next Tuesday. I hope you had fun with me, and I'll see you next week. Okay, bye!